Welcome to the Waypoint, a short monthly dose of outdoor and adventure travel industry news and analysis from industry thought leaders who give us their real-time insights regarding trends impacting your business as the year progresses. We'll drop an outdoor Waypoint episode on the first Wednesday of each month, adventure travel on the second Wednesday of each month, product trends on the third Wednesday of each month, and we're trying to record live at a venue or campsite near you on the fourth Wednesday of each month. Hit us up if you'd like to host us or have an adventure we need to join. Hey, big shout out and thank you to Sarah Langston and the folks at Outdoor Retailer for getting me the audio from our panel discussion at the recent Outdoor Retailer show, How to Thrive, Not Just Survive in the Age of Amazon. I was fortunate to moderate the conversation between Scott Oshman, Mark Sherman, Colin Moynihan, and Jay Getzel. I won't bore you with the details. Here it is.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rick Sayes. I produce the Outdoor Biz podcast. You can catch it on Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast. We're here to talk about how you can thrive in the age of Amazon. We've got Scott Oshman with the Cairn Company from the Seattle area, Pacific Northwest. We have Mark Sherman from the Outdoor Gear Exchange in Vermont. Colin Moynihan from Uncle Dan's, part of Camping World Now. If you want to hear stories about Marcus Lemonis, talk to Colin. And Jay Getzel from Mountain Smith.
Chicago. He's Colin from Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, sorry.
Chicago.
And Jay's from here in Colorado. So I'm going to have Scott briefly walk us through 5 tactics that you can use to thrive in the age of Amazon. Scott runs a sales agency up in the Pacific Northwest, does a lot of work with Amazon, and helps a lot of small retailers and other businesses in their Amazon business. So I will turn it over to Scott.
Okay, thank you very much. Rick Sayes, and Rick kind of was the brainchild of all of this, so big credit to him. So real quickly, and we're going to go through these one by one and get these gentlemen's viewpoints. The paradigm shift, talked about it, it's basically the consumer now is driving, controlling a lot of the decisions. Path to purchase, where are they? You got to be, how do you catch them in that path to purchase? How do you catch the ever-changing consumer? 50-50 rule is basically some form or shape of your store, your business has to be digital in some way. If it isn't now, it should be or probably will be. No friction or frictionless experience, That's from the consumer side. As a specialty retailer, as all of our businesses, how do you make it so it is absolutely frictionless, easy experience? And then the last thing is basically how to, being a VIP. How do we put in those mechanics for our consumers so that they feel special coming to our stores, buying from us again and again? And you see that all kinds of loyalty programs and such.
And we're not going to spend too much time talking on the paradigm shift because I think that's been all over the news. We all know that consumers are doing everything online, they're doing everything on their phone, and they're driving the bus, so to speak, right? They're calling the shots. So we've all acknowledged that. We're going to go right to the path to purchase and get some feedback on these guys on how they may have shifted their path to purchase. It used to be that the guy just walked in the door and shopped your store and bought stuff, but now they're coming to you in bunches of different ways. What have you guys done to shift that path to purchase? Mark, you want to start us out on that?
Well, in the last year, we've really invested in our events and are trying to drive more of a community and not just a shop. So at this point, we have an event almost every week, sometimes twice a week. We work with our vendors, we work with local nonprofits, and we really try to tie it together.
Yeah, loud. You got to.
Sorry. To summarize the first part, we're doing more events this year. We do at least one a week, and we're really trying to connect our vendors with our customers, with the nonprofits in the area that we support, and we really go out of our way to make sure that our customers know what we're doing is more than just selling gear. We're promoting experiences. We're trying to build a healthier lifestyle, but we're also trying to connect them with our staff and with the various organizations in the area that we feel are important to try to create more engagement. So they're not just coming to us for the piece of gear or the piece of equipment or clothing that they can buy online, but also for the experience of talking to our staff, learning where our staff are playing in the outdoors, which in Vermont usually means, I can't tell you, but otherwise, what are our favorite parks? How can we engage? And we try to involve ourselves with the local governments and where can we get more people outside and work with public-private collaborations to just get more people outside. If we can get more people outside, it doesn't matter in what way they are going to at some point become our customers. And just as an example, Sierra Trading Post moved into Burlington about 2 years ago, right at the beginning of the winter that wasn't. So we have no idea how they've impacted our business. But when they were coming to town, a lot of people were asking, were we concerned about it? And the answer was no, because even if a customer goes to them before they come to us, at some point, a good customer is going to learn more and more. He's going to learn more and more about what they want to do outside, and eventually they're going to become an Outdoor Gear Exchange customer in Burlington. So if whoever gets more people outside, that benefits us in the long run, and so we support that in any way we can.
Cool. Colin, how'd you guys shift the path to purchase?
Sure. We're primarily a brick and mortar business in Chicago. We have 5 stores that are named Uncle Dan's. We will have 4 more that are named Air One Outfitters as of this week. And so there's complexity to the distribution there. And a few of the things we've tried to do as we realize that everyone's starting their path to purchase online now is to try to be there for the customer in every single possible way that we can. Where 5 years ago we recognized growing a website was important for sales, but also more so it's important to draw the connection to your stores. And so in the last year especially, we've really started to promote our website in our store and promote functionality we were working on for a couple of years that we all hear about now and the big guys do it. But just being able to offer buy online, pick up in store, and try to remind our loyal customer that we can be their spot to start their path to purchase, as well as anybody else. And so we hope that the continual reminders will make them think of us and the brick and mortar and specialty component to our business. So that, I think, has been successful, and it's driven our web business to where the majority of Illinois is our largest state on our web, and it's not the largest population state in the country. And I think we're seeing things that suggest that this focus on web can actually really benefit us locally.
Great.
The other part is Amazon, since that's what this is a little bit about. And so while we are still a brick and mortar business, I think we recognized a couple of years ago that if our customers shifting, then we have to shift too. It might not be where we're going to say that that's our strength, but we need to be competent on that channel. We need to do everything we can to show our brands that we're competent. They can trust us. They can trust that we'll keep price. Because the reality is that any customer coming into our store is probably an Amazon shopper too. And so we're trying really hard to talk to brands about that and about how it's important for brands to support specialty. And it's really tough right now because pricing is critical, and restricting the amount of retailers that you allow to sell on Amazon is very clearly a way to help police and protect price. But at the same time, and we talked about this on your podcast a little bit, I think it's kind of on the industry and the ecosystem to start to think a little bit beyond the pricing component and figure out ways to protect price, but also allow all these specialty smaller guys that are trying to gain skill in that market to take part. And I think we have a long way to go in this industry to get there. Yeah. But I think that's what will help keep specialty vibrant. I really do. Without that, I think it's important to keep specialty vibrant.
Yeah. Great. And Jay, how does Mountain Smith support these retailers in finding the consumer in that path to purchase?
Well, our Mountain Smith business isn't really focused on our own direct-to-consumer business. We are less than 3% of our sales direct-to-consumer on our website. So certainly our digital marketing spend is intended to drive traffic, drive awareness, consciousness of the brand, and then ultimately customers to our retail stores.
Great. That's excellent. And so the next tactic is the 50-50 rule. And I think, at some point, part of your business needs to be digital. And that's continuing to grow. And so what part of your business is digital? Maybe not 50%, but then doesn't have to be sales. Could be social media. Mark or Colin, you want to start with that one?
Also internally, as far as operations, any type of thing like that.
Sure. I mean, the first one that comes to mind probably for a lot of us in the business is marketing. I mean, if you're growing a web business, you have to spend money through Google or whatever means to help drive traffic. Organic is the goal, obviously, but paid traffic is important to success. And so that's become by far our largest marketing expense. And then social on the local level has kind of begun to take over that piece of the local marketing pie too, where you can better target. And I mean, we have a ways to go, probably to get as sophisticated as we can to really reach the right customer. But it's a much easier path than, a blanket mailer or those kind of traditional marketing tools, which we still use. But that's, if you're trying to direct to the right customer, I think we can get more sophisticated digitally. And then the other piece for us that has helped is we made the decision a few years ago to switch our business platform to a cloud-based platform so that we internally could run our business from anywhere, having multiple stores, working remotely, traveling. I mean, I think a lot of people probably have this reality still with a server-based world where you have to remote in to get access to your folders. And I mean, it honestly changed everything for us. So that I think that's digital because it's all driven through a website. Yeah. And it's also allowed us to, bring our point of sales outside for events or bring them anywhere. Yeah. So that's been huge and all driven through this digital revolution, I guess.
Yeah. Excellent. Mark, how about you? What part of your business is digital?
It's got to be well over 50%. At the top line, it's about 40%. So we've got multiple channels within that. So we're on gearx.com, which is our website. That drives a lot of business into the store as well. So even though that might not be as much top line or a reality as it is top line, just like Colin said, people are engaging online first. Our number one state of visit is Vermont, and we know that that's not our number one state of shipping. So our customers are choosing to visit online first, but we also are engaged on Amazon, both with Fulfilled by Merchant and FBA, and that's allowing us to sort of engage in a lot of different places. And sure, we want you to buy local when you're in Burlington, but we want you to buy from us when you're somewhere else. So the buy local thing is great for when you're in state, but you still have to send that message of who you are wherever you're marketing to. And yeah, we use digital in-house for communication, and that's actually a challenge. We've got to give our staff a certain amount of time every week to read emails, honestly, because the communication with about 120 staff, even though we're all in one building, is incredibly robust. The number of emails we get while we're just not there makes it so on the way home, my partner and I, after a trip like this, will actually spend a day just at home for every week we're away, reading emails that came in and trying to respond.
And Jay, are you guys supporting folks in this digital initiative?
We definitely are. I think over the course of the last couple of years and with a greater focus in 2018 on working directly with some of our dealers on digital marketing initiatives together. Certainly one we did with Mark and Outdoor Gear Exchange last year has been the way that we found we can tap into the connectivity between the local market and our retail stores and grow the consciousness of the Mountainsmith brand with the captive audience that they already have, coming to their site to shop, coming to their community to look for outdoor gear. So it's a great place for us to interact with our retailers. And budgetary wise for 2018, the emphasis is growing on that and being ratcheted back off of, print media and other, things that we used to do, and being more focused on retail marketing and consumer direct marketing digitally.
That's awesome. And Scott, on these first two tactics, path to purchase and 50-50 rule, have we missed anything or anything that you are working with?
I got nothing, Rick. You know me. I got nothing.
Thanks for the help.
No. Path to purchase is, if you have, like me, I have teenage kids, just if it's not in your bubble of life to understand where people are looking for things, be cognizant of all the different things that I don't use Snapchat. My daughter said that that's probably a good idea, but you have to be aware of these things. So if you're not subscribing or, everybody has too many newsletters and all this stuff, but, check out something out of your comfort zone to see what the newest technologies and the adoption rates are so that you are there before and you're positioned to win before all of a sudden it's a saturated channel.
That's good. That's great. And so the next one is frictionless experience. Mark, let's start with you. What are you doing to create a frictionless experience for your consumer?
Well, lots of lube. So from the early days, our goal has always been to be easy to do business with. And, every one of us has a lot of vendors, a lot of sales reps that they can work with. Every one of our... Now. I'm not a rock star like you.
They want to use you.
So every one of our vendors can do business with a lot of different retailers. Every one of our reps can do business with a lot of different retailers. And our goal is to be the easiest one to do business with. So if what we're looking for is digital orders, then that's what we want to submit. If people prefer analog orders, then that's what we want to submit. We want to try to do our best to pay on time, to communicate when we can't, and just make sure that the relationship is one that people are excited to be in. It's all about passion. Our customers should come to us first because we're fun to deal with. We make it easy. A great example is we have a common sense return policy. Bring it back, you can return it. We're going to work with you to make that work when it's not convenient for us, but ultimately, if it's good for you, it's good for us. So we're going to make changes when we have to and make it so that you don't feel that once it leaves the store, we never want to see it again. We want you to come back for whatever reason. That's good for us.
Colin, how about you guys? How are you creating a frictionless path?
Sure. I'll break it down, I guess, into the customer side and then the internal side. On the customer side, touched on, buy online, pick up in store, just try to make it easy for our customers to start their experience with us. But then we've also started to look at things in the other direction where we want to be able to service our in-store customer, because if we don't have what they need when they come in, they can buy it perhaps online. If we
That's huge, by the way. That is is that not a big deal for everybody? I mean, that is critical and not hard, not easy to do. Sorry, I had to interrupt. It was going to happen.
Anytime. And so that's where we've started to say, okay, we have multiple doors. It's nice in the sense that we often will have, product in our other stores that we might not have if it's a hot product. And so one of the things that we did was simply to get a van. I mean, we used to use a service to ship product from our central DC, and we would pay money, and it wasn't flexible. But now with our own internal driver and van, we can promise a customer that if we don't have the product, they have two options. The first is that we can have it for them tomorrow by noon, or we'll give them a phone call. Or we can ship the product straight to their house for tomorrow in Chicago. If we have to ship further, it might cost something. But we just want to give them the opportunity to get the product they're looking for as quickly as possible, even if it's not in the particular store that they're in. So that's been fun to practice and learn on.
Fun to implement.
To tie into that, we just started this, and we stole the idea from a snowboard shop that we saw in Chicago, but we put touchscreen monitors in our stores, and essentially it's just a giant touchscreen computer where we have our website. And so to me, it connects those two worlds. And
that's great.
It makes it a little more seamless. And so staff can use these touchscreens to actually pull up product they're talking about and use it for an educational purpose. Or a customer can actually use it to look at a particular product they might not find, and they're able to see which other stores it's in, and it's just fun too. It draws
awesome.
the eye.
Yeah, cool. And Jay, you guys are doing some unique things to help these guys get product faster and create frictionless.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we talk quite a bit internally. We had a phone call to prepare for this event a couple weeks ago, and chatted really about our people. Is where I think that we come into play there. Mark mentioned that as a retail buyer, there's a lot of different options out there. There's a lot of product overlap within our space. There's a ton of product out there, and really it's about developing the relationships with our retailers that allow us to have a seamless experience for them. Because the better we are at delivering product to our retail store, the easier it's going to be for them to ultimately, pass it along to the consumer. So it's really about our people. I mean, Mountain Smith is a 40-year-old brand, but there's 7 of us in our office. We're a tiny, tiny little team. You could just as easily call for a zipper repair and talk to me on the phone as you could our customer service person. And it's a fun vibe that, interchangeably amongst a president or a marketing manager or a customer service guy, you're going to get a very seamless, very frictionless experience when you talk to us. So hopefully that then perpetuates out to our retailers and the consumer.
Yeah, that's excellent.
I had one more to add in on the
No, that's
side.
not allowed. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Colin.
So on the internal side, this goes back to the technology investment. And I know it's such a big investment for specialty businesses that it's easy to keep pushing it off. I think the reality, if you sit down and look at the savings that you can get from efficiencies, more than proved out for us that it was an important investment. But what it's done is it's made things like web fulfillment that much easier for our stores. So an order can come in on our website, and for us, we don't have a giant warehouse where all our web product is. It's in our stores, and we're trying to diversify the opportunities to sell it. And so now the web order can come in, and we've got systems in place that can identify the right store to ship the product, can set up a template that's really clear for our staff. And I mean, it's probably takes 20% of the time it used to fulfill a web order, which is huge in our world and for labor.
And how long ago did you make that shift?
It was 2 years.
Okay.
Fall of 2016.
Yeah, and so you start 2 years benefits right away.
Yeah. It was
relatively.
It was not.
2 years in
it was a painful experience going through the shift, but very, very necessary. I think if you want to evolve and be able to keep up, really.
And Scott,
and actually, we've had the same experience. We've evolved into making sure that we know where every product is in the store, and even though it's one building, we've got multiple warehouses, multiple rack systems, and we're picking. Often for our fulfillment online, we're picking out of the racks on the store. So where we don't have enough to have backstock, our web fulfillers have to go up onto the sales floor. They need to be able to interact with customers when they do, but we also have to know where that is on the floor for people who don't work the floor every day.
Right.
So we've got every rack has a number and a location, makes it easy for our web customers to get fulfilled quickly, but it also makes sure that the product's always where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we are about to invest in a system as well, and that's going to make a big difference. We've already been working with one system for 16 years. We've evolved it over time through hacking into it and learning how to do read-write into the database and do our own add-ons. But in the end, going up with the next system is going to be a huge difference, and one we weren't ready to make 5 or 6 or even 3 years ago when we started looking into these. And now we really need to with the way our business has grown, and especially with the omni-channel approach where we're dealing with customers on multiple different places, in-store, online, shopping, online, viewing, and on Amazon in 2 different places.
And that maximizes your inventory. It's not sitting around waiting. Yeah. And have we missed anything, Scott?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, how many retailers do we have out in the audience today? Raise your hand if you're a retailer. Fantastic. Not want to exclude anybody else, but here's the other thing. If you don't have all of this stuff and you want to just dabble and dip your toe, the beautiful thing is, and I'm not an advocate for one or the other, everybody has experiences, but if you're just trying to piece it all together and have an online e-commerce and have in-store and understand off one inventory system, if you're trying to build out those multiple sales channels, guess what? For $39.95 a month, Shopify, there's a lot of shopping carts that you can tie in now way easier depending on your POS. Disclaimer there. So if you're just it's daunting. I can't figure it out. I'm a small person. You're a small store. Believe me, there's no other time than now that you can actually make that happen. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, how do we take, and we've talked about this a little bit, how do you protect yourself in the store from the phone? How do you make it so I talk about having a repricer tool right actually on the shelf. So there's a lot of things in digital or electronic labeling coming through that's tied into your inventory and all these things. How do we make it so we utilize, if everybody's going to Amazon to look and they're using part of their research and they want to look how many stars and how many reviews, how do you ride that wave and make sure when in the store you're not shying away from that? You're going to let that help you because you have those products. Why not sell it while they're there? How are you guys doing that? I kind of stole that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rick.
That's good. No, that's good. And the last one is VIP. So it's kind of a gaming mechanics concept. We want to make everybody feel like a VIP. So what are some of the things you guys are doing to make your customers feel like VIPs? Colin?
I think to start, I would say we have a ways to go. I think REI sets the bar in our eyes. We can't offer 10% off necessarily. We don't have a large assortment of in-house product that's going to enhance margins to make that really possible. And so it's always this internal question, like, do we try to keep up, or do we try to offer our own customized version of this? And so at Uncle Dan's, we've come up with our own customized version, but it comes with a slightly lower discount. And so I know we have a ways to go. As we roll a partner business, Erewhon, into our business, they've adopted a model that's closer to REI. Yeah. And so we have to figure out what's the right model there, or what's our model as our new world is tied in with Camping World now, and they have a pretty broad rewards program. So how do we offer other incentives, like discounts at the local climbing gyms, or ski passes, or other things that tie to the outdoor experience in the local area? Yeah. But I know we have a lot to think about in that regard.
Yeah. Mark, you guys making people feel special?
Similar to what Colin was saying, we do have a long way to go, and all the research we've done over the years about a loyalty program is you really need to be best in class, and like you said, REI is. So we're looking at different angles as a concept of being able to give our customers maybe advanced sale deals, a first opportunity on new product. We're here at the show looking at product and making sure that we've got advanced video and photography of things that are coming in so that they can see it with us first. We do whatever we can. When my partner and I are working on the sales floor, I have a lucky gift for names. I know most of my customers that have been in around for a lot for names.
That's great.
I'll just say, hi, what are you up to? I know what their kids were doing. Some of their kids work for us. They were toddlers when they first started shopping in the store 20 years ago. And so making that connection, a one-on-one connection. One thing that we did recently, and we're going to try to engage in again, we bought our building 3 years ago, and we did a self-designed crowdfunding program. So we picked all of our customers, we gave them this opportunity, and about 200 of them invested. Some just gave us money to help buy the building, small amounts. Others gave investments, which we returned with additional in-store credit over the course of 3 years. And what that gave us was a guaranteed touch point with every one of those customers every 3 months when we gave them back some money. And now we've got a big thank you plaque up on the wall for all that they did for us. And we're now looking at a way to engage with our in-store customers through follow-up emails and online transactional messages. So for our online customers, you buy something, you get a note saying we're shipping it. We get a note saying, can you tell us how it worked? Did you get it on time? We're not doing that with our in-store customers, and that's something we're trying to develop, is a way to let people know, yeah, we know you just spent a bunch of money on a set of skis and boots. We want to thank you for it. We want to give you an opportunity to give us some feedback on the experience, and we want to learn what we can do better the next time. And trying to engage with the in-store customer on the digital media is another way that we can transfer their attention to us online and not just when they're walking down the street.
That's awesome. That's great. And Jay, you guys doing anything to help these guys make customers feel special?
From a VIP experience, not direct to consumer wise, I think the number one thing that we stand behind is our Forged for Life warranty. Having a rock solid warranty policy as a brand, kind of like Mark had mentioned with his common sense approach to the return policy, we just need to 100% of the time take care of our customers. That way our buyers have faith in assorting our products. Their retail staff has faith in selling our products. And we know that we're not going to leave somebody, out there in the field trying to enjoy an experience with an, inferior product.
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
To add to that, so many vendors like Mountainsmith offer guarantees like that. And what we really do is emphasize that in the store. So if something has a guarantee like that, whether it's a lifetime guarantee, a Forged for Life guarantee, whatever you want to call it, we make sure that's called out on the signs and the tags that are on the product so our customer knows that. The same goes for price matching. We talked about this on the phone when we were chatting 2 weeks ago. We really want our customer, we don't want to do dynamic pricing. We don't want our customer to come in on a Tuesday, buy something, and find out on a Wednesday that we've lowered it because we saw it somewhere else cheaper. We want them to know they're getting the best price when they're in. But we also advertise that if they find it in the next few days for a lower price, come back in. We'll match it. We want you to make that purchase when you're in the store and not have to go home and find out. That's really important.
That's important. Yeah, Scott, we missed anything?
Well, the one thing I put up there is the Starbucks. How many people have the Starbucks app on their phone? How many people use it? Not that many. Wow, I thought there'd be more. So learning lessons, that is one of the most popular used payment system in all of retail. And the tease is because, first of all, it's frictionless. You don't have to worry about it. It's all the mobile payment. But they're constantly saying, hey, 2 more stars and you get, a free $4 mocha. So it's back to that engaging, making them feel like they're VIP when they come in the store. If they bought online, you caught them. Hey, guess what? You're part of a very special club, which is the other huge trend, which is personalization and customization to make everybody feel like they're special at your stores and your brands. And so that's internal as well for staff, employees, everything else. So that's the one thing about the VIP. It's the gaming mechanic. It's why we all sit there on our phones and I go on planes and see everybody playing Candy Crush or whatever it is, Words with Friends. They don't win anything. There's no money, but it's a human psychology. We're competitive. And I want the Marriott points. Okay?
Exactly. Right. So before we open up to audience questions here, you guys have anything, final thoughts you want to add, or you got it all out?
Similar to what you said, you got to be thinking ahead. Everybody, we're always looking who might be coming into the market, what's happening, what's the weather event coming up, how do we connect to that? We need to know what's happening next before it happens. And sometimes you make a mistake and you guess wrong, but more often than not, we're all in business because we like what we're doing. We're paying attention to the clues, and it's our job to get ahead of everything so that our customer doesn't have to feel like we're behind.
And then I think I'd just touch on the brick and mortar concept in general, and just say for us, I think we're still all in on this brick and mortar concept. But the only way I think we can be all in on it is if we connect these other pieces of the puzzle that relate to digital or websites. And the example lately that's been resonating for me is my wife using Instacart for groceries. She just learned about this, and it's changed our world. And Amazon buying Whole Foods. Yeah. I think the brick and mortar business, in our mind, it's not going anywhere. But sales aren't just going to go increase on their own. Right. The only way that it's actually going to keep growing is this digital component and tying it all together. Yeah.
Jay?
Our stores are our conduit to our customers because of our lack of emphasis on direct-to-consumer sales. So our support of our retail stores and the work that our staff does to make that a experience that's easy for them, I think is what we're going to continue to do heading into 2018 and beyond. And I think making sure that as the consumer consciousness of our brand grows and our retail relationships, it's just important that we work together to make sure that there is a higher perceived value. The race to the bottom that we're all trying to avoid. Right. This addiction to promotion. Right. It's more about the experiences. It's more about the the philanthropic things that we're doing together. It's about the partnerships we have with our retail stores and what our consumers are doing when they go outside.
Yeah. Scott?
No, I'll go out and get questions. How about that?
I want to throw one more thing out there too.
Oh, okay.
A lot of you guys are, some of this is very daunting. Some of this software is very expensive. Some of these tactics are things that we might have to learn that we've never used before. And I just encourage you all to keep trying to do one new thing a month. And by the end of the year, you've got 12 new things. You've got a whole new business. And don't give up. We all had to learn how to walk someday. And when we were babies, we kept getting up and falling down, getting up and falling down. It's a good thing our mom didn't look at us and say, oh, he's not a walker, and this let us crawl around the world, right? We kept trying and trying and trying and trying. So don't give up, one piece at a time, and you'll get there. So let's open up the questions. I think we've got some microphones that we can pass around that you guys can...
I can jump out, Sarah, if you want me to, because I'm loud.
You're going to be loud.
Let's talk some numbers. Budget percentage.
Say that again. Can you repeat the question?
No. Budget percentage.
Budget percentage for what?
Digital marketing, and also you talked about infrastructure. So 2 things.
Budget and marketing for you guys got that?
Yeah, well, with AdWords, it's really a pay-to-play thing. So we try to make the money available to drive the sales, and if we're getting the clicks, we let the budget keep going up. In terms of brick and mortar, print media advertising, we kind of have to do it. We try to do it as smartly as possible. And we know that it's hard to track what's actually working. I think when you look at stats on online marketing, the concept of a view through sale still does not resonate with me as a valid click. So, yes, you might have seen an ad presented to you last week and you're buying this week. I can't tell you whether the ad you saw last week mattered, so I'm not counting that as part of my ROI, but it's worth looking at. But yeah, the budget, it just needs to match what you're selling. But you need to realize that digital advertising is really also fueling your in-store business as well.
What about systems? What about all this huge investment in web-based? What about all the systems? What percentage? Is there anything to shed light on that, Colin or Mark? No comment?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to put it into words other than for us, systems actually ended up replacing IT costs. And so in a way, we had an outserviced IT company that we paid the equivalent of probably 2 staff members every year, and our system is probably the equivalent of 1 to 1.5 staff of that, half of that, with a tremendous amount of efficiencies built in. And then I would second what you said related to digital spend. When we first started growing our website, we set a pretty small monthly, we set an actual number. It might have been $500 the first month. And we had a skilled person helping with our AdWords campaign. But ultimately, as we saw that prove out, we decided we were comfortable going a little higher, until the point where you realize, or you have enough knowledge and confidence that as long as the spend aligns with the sales, and for, I don't know, I'll use a broad benchmark, but if we can keep it to 15 to 20%, it's not cheap, but it's arguably like rent in a store. So as long as the two align and it's a percentage game, I think that's our view.
Yeah, that's good. Any other questions out there? Somebody's got to have something.
Come on now.
Come on. Nothing? Scott, is there any tactics that we didn't talk about that you use with some of the brands?
I think it's so automation. So think about what are the low-level tasks that are important. They're extraordinarily important. But what can I automate that is a laborious, very important, but it's formatting spreadsheets. It's cobbling together. How can I automate the parts of my business and my retail store where I can actually get the people that have great talent and knowledge and experience to spend more time? That's, Colin's example is one point. Do you have any other examples of that, Mark?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk over the past several years about the challenges of the millennial workforce. But what comes with those challenges is a digital native. And so what we found is that our staff is finding the solutions to those problems because they want to work more efficiently. If they're having trouble getting things barcoded, they're going to ask for better barcode readers. They're going to ask for different systems to generate those scans and want the communications to go between different systems. So we've got, we try to be pretty nimble with IT. We also do invest in systems, but we've got an in-house IT department that can address problems really quickly. We don't have to make a phone call to an outsourced agency or a software company. We've actually found that most of our software companies don't service their products as well as our in-house IT system and our staff can. And that allows us to address those really quickly and produce communication. But, people are learning new software programming. VBA and Excel allows us to create multiple interactions between the different systems in a way that works for each individual that has it, so that we've got our warehouse manager is also our efficiency manager, and he will go and work with anyone in the store who needs to try to create some efficiencies in their system. And being able to do that internally is huge because he already knows the problems and what the details are, so we don't have to educate an outsourced, an outsourced contractor for every time we do it.
That's great. And one of the things that Amazon uses a lot is ratings and reviews. Are you guys doing anything to allow your customers to rate and review products in your store or anything like that?
We have a ways to go on that front too. We're trying. We're not an Amazon, so our if you have 15,000 SKUs on your website, it's hard to get reviews to all of those.
Right.
And so sometimes it's embarrassing to have a product up with the review stars and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So we know we have to solve that problem. But we also want reviews of us as a business. So we use an outside company called Trustpilot right now.
Okay.
But after any web purchase or in-store purchase, where we have the email, we send out like 5 days later, it's automated,
Gotcha.
a request for them to review the experience with Uncle Dan's. Mm-hmm. It's really eye-opening. I mean, if someone has a bad experience in the store and they share it with us, it's a great learning.
It's an opportunity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, to address that though, if you get a bad review, you need to respond to it immediately.
Yeah.
So if someone goes on Yelp and sees there's something negative, that there's some negative experience, you need to, you can apologize for it, you can explain it, you can try to justify it, but that communication has to be positive. It has to be acknowledging and that you want to do better, and that the person actually their feelings are correct. And you may not want to have that be what people are reading, but they're going to read it. You can't hide from it. That review is out there.
Question. Yeah, I can get to him. Here, I'll get him. Hey.
So I guess I wanted to ask a question about more your UPC coding and your in-house barcode coding for integration to website and whatnot. Are you using manufacturers' UPCs, or are you generating your own in-house?
So the question real quick was, he wants to know how they're using UPC and barcoding actually and integrating that with your web, online, and all your other systems. Is that right? Did I ask that correct?
We use the barcodes that come on the products for UPC, but we also have a SKU of our own that has its own barcode. But every product can scan either at the register. But we also have them linked to receiving logs and purchase orders, so that everything can scan automatically. So when our receivers get products, they just scan the barcodes onto the receiving log as they go, and it sorts them out and figures it out, and that's all part of the system.
Great. Colin?
We migrated over to using vendor UPCs probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was around the same time that we went to Amazon, and it was a necessity. If anyone hasn't switched or doesn't have a field for records with vendor UPC, I would encourage you to do it, because it's the only way you're really going to be able to play the digital game. And right now we're experiencing with our new partner store, Erewhon, that they never did use vendor UPCs. So we have to map 19,000 SKU vendor UPCs, and it's a major project, but it's worth the effort. Once we're done with it,
immediate payoff.
And then we're speaking a universal language with everybody else, including Amazon.
All right.
So it makes it easier.
Here's another one over there.
And Jay, don't feel bad. I have one for you coming up.
Let's feel
Yeah, I know. We got to get Jay in. Go ahead.
So what level of investment do you guys put in educating your retail employees on product knowledge and that sort of thing?
That's a great question.
First? All right. We have a pretty continuous stream of clinics through our vendors and our reps, and we have found though that, and oftentimes, other than new product that's coming out, our retail specialists and our managers and our core users within the shop can give more relevant clinics than we can from people who are outside the business, and it makes use of the time more effectively. But our staff want to do this, and so we've actually created a system where, by going to a certain number of clinics, whether they're with our vendors in-house or off-site, they can get essentially points towards raises that happen in between review cycles, so that as people learn more and become more complete employees with their education level, we're paying them more. They don't have to wait for their annual review to get acknowledged. And they're very small incremental raises. To give someone who's making $26,000 a year a $75 raise for having attended an 8-hour on-snow clinic, the $75 may seem insignificant, but it's an acknowledgement that they've gone and they've learned more, and that we value them more at that moment and not in 8 months.
That's great.
We relied on in-store clinics really for a majority of product knowledge, along with 3.5 forever. And it's great and it's valuable to have a tech rep come in and educate you. But at the same time, we've noticed over the time that it's like pulling teeth a little bit sometimes to get our staff to be excited to come in. And so we're still trying to figure out what's the answer to that. Beer is great. Yeah, well, that always helps. But we're thinking this year of doing, you mentioned on snow training, let's get everyone out for a camp out for we're kind of stealing this idea from other bigger guys that do this, but
and that's good. That's
You're borrowing the idea. You're just borrowing it.
Learning about a backpack sitting in the store is one thing, but wearing it and getting out there is the other.
This rolls right into what I was going to ask Jay, and we'll get to the question.
Well, I was going to say too that you guys need to also realize that from a digital spend standpoint, brands are making a much deeper investment on video and photography assets right now. So from a clinic standpoint, we know that not every single one of our reps is going into every store and talking to every retail employee. So definitely encourage you to find out what your brands have as far as resources go, whether it's a Dropbox library like we use of lifestyle studio imagery as well as videography for all of our products. I mean, that is an extension that you guys could be using digitally on your sites that we do for you. It's a free, it's like a free give that we definitely need to collaborate on, because if that gets out there as well, it helps to educate your staff as well as your consumers.
So that's the thing, the path to purchase, but the path to education. And of course, dare I say YouTube? Because people, that's just how they learn. That's how we all understand a lot of things. Is it perfect? Is it the best way? Could it be supplemented with clinics and knowledge? All those things, but good. And then we had a question. Or go ahead, Mark.
I think, Scott, you also have to realize that you and I are not digital natives, and that most of our staff do learn through YouTube videos, and that was
my point. I think that's the reality.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can sit there and say we're in clinic. So the reality is the person sitting there looking on YouTube, like I am when I have to fix anything. Right? So why not embrace that and figure out how that can actually, you can feed off that and make sure that's part of it.
Well, and the other thing
we
is
agree.
Ask your staff how they want to learn. When we get new employees, one of the questions is, are you a kinesthetic learner? Are you an auditory learner? Are you a visual learner? And we try to cater to those proclivities, because someone's going to learn faster if you teach to them in the way that they want to learn.
And I'll add one more thing on that as it relates to a website and the value of investing in a web platform. That's a learning tool. We have anyone who does it as people that put a lot of time into putting product pages up with really detailed specifications and descriptions of products. So when I talked about the touchscreen TV in our store, we didn't think about this at first. We learned it by watching our staff, but they ended up going to that screen with new staff and literally using it as a teaching tool. So it has all sorts of different uses if you can incorporate the digital into the mix.
Oh, you get this question? You have one. You have a mic,
so
and then we'll get to...
I just wanted to ask, do you pay for staff training? Because for hourly employees?
We pay when if they're in the store for a clinic, they're on the clock, and we pay them in our case.
Yeah, so you schedule them to come in.
Yeah, we do. We have to schedule them. Sunday nights is often when we do it, and when we pay them.
And that's an issue for a lot of people. I don't know how you handle that, Mark.
We do the same thing, but when we have an on-snow demo day, we actually have our staff, they can either use a paid time off day for that day, but they also do get that raise once they complete it. But in order to do that, they've got to answer several questions. It's like a 3.5 survey of our own. If you're going to go out and spend a day trying out skis at Sugarbush, when you come back, you need to be able to give us a review on 10 different skis that you tried on. And once you do that, yes, you get the raise, and yes, you did that on your own time, but we're making it available. They want to learn. We are as human beings, we just are sponges for knowledge. We just need to make that knowledge available.
All right, question here, and then we're going to go back there.
What strategies, tools / budget do you guys use between some of you guys have the Amazon storefront versus your store website? What process thinking goes through linking maybe your storefront to your personal storefront to your Amazon storefront? Because on Amazon you have the ads, you have the videos, you have the images, you control all of that. So is it worth having both, where you can just have like a landing page for your store and link it to where majority of consumers are going, which is Amazon?
Without a doubt. Yep.
You do both.
We do both. We've got people coming from one or the other. I've spoken to some friends who will go onto Amazon, shop for something, and then once they've figured out who's selling it, they'll go to that website and buy it because they know that we're not paying the commission to Amazon on that sale. But I think that's the minority of our customers. Most people just want to go to the platform they like, find what they want, and buy it. And that's that frictionless experience. So, going back to that question, the fact that wherever they go online, whether they search through Google or they search through Amazon, they're going to get to us. That's what we want. But to your other question, we do limit the products that go on Amazon, not just through the vendors that don't allow us to put them on Amazon, but also on price, because there is a point at which the cost of an item, it's not worth selling it through the Amazon platform. So we just don't send those into our feed to Amazon.
And that's the paradigm shift, too. The consumer wants to buy it where they want to buy it. You've got to be everywhere that they want to buy it. There you go, Scott. Go for it.
We have another question out here.
So it's good to hear some strategies that you have to deal with the comparison shopper who's got their phone in their hand or looked up a price online. It'd be good to hear a little bit more about those strategies and how you deal with those consumers to capture them, but also interested to hear about your attitude towards the brands that may have map violations going on causing that behavior.
It's a challenge. And going back to the question of who's easy to do business with and who isn't, we're going to put more of our open to buy towards brands that maintain price in a way that we can work with. So if we've got a brand that isn't keeping price where we need it to be, we don't want to take those chances. We want to work with someone who's is holding price better. And MAP is inherently good, I think, for the industry, but it's only good if everybody adheres to it. If there's a small group of bad operators who are not adhering to MAP, they're also probably outside of the realm of giving a crap. And so the vendors aren't going to be able to rein them in. And we just need to accept that's the reality. If we offer better service, better customer service, better phone service, better chat, all of these ways to engage with the consumer, we can maintain price, we can make money, we can all grow our retail business on both the digital and analog in-store platforms.
In addition to price, we're at the point, and really this is probably the first season where it's front of mind for me and coming up in any discussion with vendors, but we're beginning to make our in-store product assortment decisions somewhat based on what brands are doing on Amazon. And so for brands that might have a selective group that they allow out there, we want to be one of them, or we have to make decisions to shift and put our business elsewhere. There's a couple brands I think that are speaking very well to the specialty industry right now, and they're trying to protect it, whether they don't allow any selling on Amazon or things like that. And so I think we're just going to keep doing more of that, though.
Yeah.
And we're going to be forced out of a protection
Sure.
to shift to brands that have more favorable. Some of the brands, even premium brands that sell right to Amazon, I understand it from a top line perspective, but I also think those are the decisions that are contributing to a lot of what smaller
At the end of the day, it's your livelihood.
Yeah. Jay, do you want to? Yeah. From a brand perspective, I see with the retailer and the brand, and this is a struggle, people. This is a very, very complex, fast-moving, real-time issue that everybody is burdened with, and there's not a lot of silver bullets. The great silver bullet is too extreme, to be honest, in my perspective, where you either have to pick one or the other, and that's not usually the best long-term sustainable solution. So I encourage, Rick and I, we always talk about this. I think the industry and as partners, we need to talk more about how do we work together to figure out the right solutions so that we can have, everybody wins a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thanks, everyone. Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions? So we're back here. I'll go.
Way in the back. Run, fast.
Real quick, on to Amazon. So you guys have your brands that you sell on Amazon. What's your opinion as far as when Amazon cuts you guys out as a middleman and goes direct? So my example of that would be Nike. So Nike is now selling direct with Amazon. In return, Amazon is giving Nike basically most of their third-party sellers' information so they can cut that, keep price, but all those third-party people are now cut out. So are we cannibalizing specialty by selling on Amazon?
for us, I think we're almost looking at brands in tiers, and it's based on what you're selling and who are your top brands. And I keep using the bank phrase from the market crash, but some brands are too big to fail. So even if they're adopting a strategy like that, like a Nike, if you're a sports store, how are you not going to carry Nike? So it's really tough in that situation. And I think it's a leverage game. So then when you maybe look at your B tier brands, that's where we're starting to go in and get a little more aggressive with what we're going to require, because there's a lot of great brands out here. And so we can do that with certain brands, but certain brands you can't right now. And so it is tough.
I think with all brands, the number of conversations I've had with brand managers, with sales managers, with marketing managers about Amazon is easily at this point going into the weeks and months. And it's important to have them over and over and over again, because ultimately outdoor specialty brick and mortar stores are the core and the heart of this industry, and the people who are running those businesses have the ear of the brands, and you got to be open to the fact that their needs are important. Not everyone can just drop Amazon 1P sales and have it not impact their bottom line significantly, but to start talking about scaling back those 1P sales and moving them into 3P, that puts the power back into outdoor specialty. And you can say to a brand, yeah, we know you need to be on Amazon. This is a critical marketplace. Half of the searches start on Amazon, but how do you be on Amazon and support your retailer? Well, you let those retailers sell on that platform and slowly try to wean yourself away from that 1P. And you keep having that conversation every 6 months, every 3 months, every month, as often as you have to, until people hear it and understand that it's important.
Yeah, no, that's great. We'll hang around for a few more minutes.
Yeah, any
other questions afterwards? We're going to put a landing page on both the cairnco.com where we'll have all the tactics listed, all our email addresses if you want to get in touch with us and ask us more questions. They'll also be on the outdoorbizpodcast.com. Go to those two landing pages, learn more about it, engage us if you want to find out more about it. Hang around if you want to ask us questions afterwards. Thanks to you guys for
huge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you guys for coming.
Very much.
If you want more of The Waypoint, you can subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher, or go to the outdoorbizpodcast.com, where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Outdoor Biz Podcast, Twitter at Rick_Saez, that's SAEZ, and by email at rick@theoutdoorbizpodcast.com. Thanks for listening and all the support. A huge shout out to all my guests, and until next time, make time to get outside.